This week I'm driving the 2022 Volkswagen Golf R. Brand new generation for the Golf. This is the Mark 8. But for the Canadian market, now only two models will be available, the GTI and the Golf R. Under the hood, we can find an Evo 4 generation of the Volkswagen proven 2-liter turbocharged TSI 4-cylinder engine producing 315 horsepower and up to 295 foot-pounds of torque if it's equipped with the 7-speed DSG gearbox. If you get the manual 6-speed, it's good for 280 foot-pounds of torque. Alright, I'm going to test the acceleration. This R's got a pretty advanced all-wheel drive system, so it should be pretty interesting. Wow, this thing is quick and smooth. You can do the 0 to 100 kilometers in just about 4.2 seconds. So it means 0 to 60 miles an hour under 4 seconds, 3.9 seconds. This is like Porsche's Corvette territory. You can also do the quarter mile in about 12.4 seconds. This Golf R is really quick off the line. This all-wheel drive system works like a charm. The DSG transmission shifts pretty quickly, so for a small, compact, hot hatch car, it's pretty fast. Transmission wise, the 7-speed DSG transmission works pretty great. You know, it feels way much more refined than the competition. The shifts are quick. You know, the response with the paddle shifter is also great. When you put it in comfort mode, it's super smooth. It just acts like a normal automatic transmission. With the DSG, it's pretty nice. Also, you get a little bit more torque. If you choose the manual transmission, the 6-speed transmission, you know, the competition offer the rev match. It's not available in the Golf R. I wish we could have a nice 6-speed with the rev match. It will be a lot of fun, especially with the all-wheel drive system. Ride-wise, really comfortable. I'm really surprised this week. It feels like we're inside of a luxury car. That suspension tuning is really on point. I'm so surprised. Usually you have to do a sacrifice on the comfort when you're choosing the high performance model. It's not the case inside of this Golf R. Super comfortable, super versatile also, comfort all the way to race. Even in race mode, it's still smooth. It's still, you know, you've got a great handling, especially with this all-wheel drive system, but you don't have that harsh ride like you probably gonna find inside of a Veloster N or the Civic Type R. So this suspension is really the perfect mix of handling, performance, and comfort. Something is kind of lacking. Maybe I didn't find the right setting. Once we change our modes and all that, I'm not able to specifically tune the suspension. I wish we could do that in the custom mode, but still, the suspension setting on each mode is really on point. So maybe the engineer was like, we did so much job on this suspension, you don't need to, you know, mess it up. Speaking of these modes, you can press a fake button just below the screen. Once you press on that button, you've got the comfort, sport, race, and custom mode. So with the custom mode, you can adjust you know, the setting as you wish. With the race mode, you got two extra race mode, I could say. You've got the Nürburgring mode and the drift mode. Pretty fun, you know, from my point of view. The Nürburgring mode, it's kind of like a race mode, but the suspension stay kind of smooth. I really like that. You know, usually when I do my own custom mode, it's pretty close to that Nürburgring mode. And we've got the drift mode. The drift mode really affects the all-wheel drive system, and that's really something I really like about this Golf R. It's not only a front-wheel drive is gonna put some juice in the back, or a 50-50, you know, symmetric all-wheel drive like you're gonna find inside of a Subaru. It's really a versatile all-wheel drive system, and with the drift mode, it's gonna send a lot of power in the back. You can do donuts, drift. From my point of view, the last time I drove something like this all-wheel drive system was a M competition from BMW, like the X4M. It feels like this type of driving, especially in drift mode, and you know, I really like that. The only thing missing with that drift mode, it's a real handbrake. One last thing also, you can activate your R mode with just a press of a fake button on your steering wheel. I say fake button because they're not actually button, they're just kind of like something you press on. With this R button, similar to a V mode you're gonna find inside of a Cadillac V model, or again a M model at BMW. So if you need to access your racing mode really quickly, you press that button and you get access to that race mode without, you know, pressing on the mode here and play with your screen and all that. That's something I really like. Something I'm kind of disappointed this week, it's really the sound of the engine, the sound of the exhaust. It's super quiet, especially for a high performance model. I wish we had a little bit more sound out of this exhaust. Last week I was driving the Veloster and good sound, good pops. There's some pops and crackle out of this Golf R, but it's really settled from my point of view. It should be louder. I'm not sure if the guys at Volkswagen wanted to do a refined, more luxurious kind of like experience of driving, or they're just scared of the emission tests and they want to play it safe to be sure not to putting out too much emission by putting a performance exhaust. I'm not sure. If you know the answer, put it in the comments, but from my point of view, if I would buy a Golf R, first thing I would do to this Golf R is put a full line of exhaust for sure. Exterior wise, it's really subtle, kind of undercover for an R model, especially if we compare it to the WRX STI or the Type R, even the Veloster. All these cars are more, you know, tuner, racer style. So if you're a little bit more mature, if you don't need the Fast and Furious kind of look, I could say, you would appreciate a little bit more the Golf R. We've got a nice quad exhaust in the back. We've got a bigger spoiler than the other, you know, generation. So probably from far away you can notice it's an R with that spoiler, but otherwise it looks like a Golf. Obviously the front end have been changed and everything have been changed on this model, but it's really easy to recognize it's a Golf. But it needs a little bit more spice, you know, to make it a little more special, to feel a little bit more the R, I could say. Interior wise, we've got some amazing seats, comfortable, and you've got some great support. Even if you're a big guy like me, I really like that, especially once again compared to the Veloster N I had last week. They were too tight, too hard, not comfortable. I think when you're driving a Golf R, it's something you're gonna use on a daily basis. It's not something you're just gonna go out on the weekend just to have some fun like a Corvette. I think having some comfortable seats, it's really important, and I'm surprised because usually these type of cars, the seats are too small, too tight, too hard for my type of body. Other than that, great steering wheel, nice big paddle shifter. We've got a nice R logo on the steering wheel, but the rest it's really minimalist. It's there's no button. This entertainment system, it's super complicated to use because we don't have any button, not even one for the volume of your speaker. It's just a real pain to use. This week, I think it was just super complicated for nothing. I hate, pressing on buttons like this, and even the buttons doesn't feel like real button. Everything is gloss black. That's the biggest weakness of this Golf R. If there was one point why I wouldn't buy a Golf R, it's really, this interior. It looks good, but just using that interior on a daily basis, it's so complicated. Even, now I've been driving this car for almost 5-6 days. I'm not used to it. Telling you the truth, I prefer using super complicated system like the BMWs and Mercedes-Benz with the knob and the mouse pad and all that. They're easier to use. They're more friendly than this. Especially we're inside of Golf. We're not inside of a Cadillac or Audi. We need some real buttons, and especially winter times, those buttons with gloves, they don't work pretty well. The cluster in front of me looks good. You can custom them. There's a bunch of modes. You can play with them for hours, but still, like this week, I was able to custom them as I wish. I've got a nice RPM tachometer in front of me. It looks good. It's sharp. Also, we've got a nice place to recharge our phone. That was something missing inside of the Veloster N last week. Even if this type of car is kind of small for a guy like me, 6'3", 300 pounds, I'm really comfortable, shoulder wise, leg wise, and all that. I don't feel I'm cramped into a really compact car. So driving this car on a daily basis, even if you're tall and big like me, it's not an issue. If we step in the back, normal kind of space for this type of small compact car. Same thing for the trunk, normal hatchback, easy to put in and out stuff out of this trunk, especially when you put down the seats. This week I've been carrying some large objects. I didn't have any issues. It was not the same case, with the Veloster N last week. It was a little bit more complicated to carry big object. So the classic hatchback, shape, I think that's a must. I'm not a big fan of the shape of the Veloster N or even the Civic Type R. I think the classic hatchback shape is the way to go. Fuel economy wise, this week I was averaging around 10 liters per 100 kilometers. I think probably you can do a little bit better if you're not always on race mode like I did this week, but still pretty decent. It's not good, but still, you've got more than 300 horsepower under the hood. You've got a really cool all-wheel drive system. We can compare this Golf with a small SUV. It's pretty much the same fuel economy, but to drive on a daily basis and having those performance, it's kind of good for the fuel economy. It's not the best, but for everything you've got, it's okay. Price-wise, the Golf R starts at $45,955 Canadian, and the model I'm driving this week, it's $47,645 Canadian. When you choose the Golf R, simply it's fully loaded. There's only just a couple of options. It's either an automatic, the DSG, or the manual transmission, and you can add the panoramic roof like I have this week. So basically, I'm driving the fully loaded Golf R. It's a super bargain if you compare this price to the US price. In the US, the Golf R start at $43,645. If we do the conversion, of this in Canadian, it will be 56,000 Canadian. So here in Canada, we've got some kind of like a $10,000 rebate because we're in Canada. So if you're in Canada, you love these kind of cars, you should definitely buy it because it's a bargain. And if we wish to keep these kind of cars here in Canada, we have to buy it. So big bargain. I'm sure the US viewers are really jealous of our price. Basically, it's like if we were offering the Golf R in the US for 35,000 US, that will be a nice deal. So that's basically what we've got here in Canada. Overall, the Golf R, it's pretty much my #1 choice in that segment to drive on a daily basis, especially here in Canada. Comfort-wise, all-wheel drive, any condition, any road. It's probably the fastest also. This car is really nice. It's just missing some buttons to be really one of the best buy you can have. But even then, with no buttons, with the special price we get here in Canada, it's such a nice deal. It's such a versatile car, you know, power, comfort, practical, still 4-door, still a hatchback. By far one of my favorite car I drove so far in 2022. So let me know in the comments which compact high performance car is your favorite. This is the GTI, the Golf R, the WRX STI, the Veloster M, the Type R. I want to see your opinion on this. This is my choice. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and we're gonna see each other on the next review.